What Star Wars actor saved lives when he landed his dying aircraft? And why does Kanye West say an accident helped shape his career? These celebrities had a brush with death, and though they survived, it changed their lives forever. On December 4, 1988, Gary Busey was thrown from his motorcycle while joyriding in West Hollywood. The actor was not wearing a helmet, and he was swiftly rushed to the hospital, where he claims he died briefly while undergoing emergency surgery.
Split my skull up to here, knocked a hole in it that big.
Thankfully, he found a way back to the side and has continued his career in the decades since. The accident was a life-changing moment for a couple of reasons. First, the resulting head injuries meant he had to relearn how to walk and speak again. When asked how he feels about the experience now, Busey told The Guardian, "I have a brain disordered in a better direction because of how it happened and how it recovered." In 1990, Latin American singer Gloria Estefan was on top of the world following a string of 80s hits. But in March of that year, the singer was involved in a horrific crash when a semi-truck slipped on a wintry Pennsylvania highway and slammed into her tour bus.
I open my eyes and I'm on the floor of the bus. And I am looking around and it is mayhem.
Recovery was brutal. Estefan was in a wheelchair for a good bit afterward, recovering from a broken back, but she claims it changed her life for the better. Before the accident, she didn't take her spirituality too seriously. She told people, "There was definitely a before and after from that accident. Maybe this is the reason that I've gone through this. Maybe I can be an example to people of how to take control of our lives and get past hurdles." In 1994, Poison frontman Bret Michaels slammed his Ferrari into a telephone pole, breaking several bones. He'd been bar hopping before getting behind the wheel, and he told the Houston Press that he'd been driving fast and lost control of his car. The incident was a sobering experience for Michaels, who said, "I still look at the photos sometimes, and I look at that car bent back over itself where my head went through the windshield. Like, man, it is amazing I'm alive. I broke my ribs, my nose was on the other side of my head, Split my head. It's weird when you find your own teeth in the floorboard of the car." He recovered in time to reach reality TV glory with Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. For millions of people around the world, Christopher Reeve was Superman. He starred in the critically acclaimed movie in 1978, which got rave reviews from critics. He reprised the role several times before hanging up the cape and boots after 1987's Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. By the 1990s, Reeve was looking for new opportunities to showcase his talent and deepen his filmography with more serious work. But fate had other plans. On May 27, 1995, Reeve was thrown from a horse he'd been riding on and tragically paralyzed from the neck down after shattering 2 bones in his spine. It was initially unclear if he would survive. His website says his injuries were so serious that his own mother even discussed pulling him off of life support with his medical team to alleviate his suffering. Reeve did eventually pull through, but his career in Hollywood was all but over, and he would spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair, unable to even turn his head. It was a horrifying turn of events for an actor barely 42 years old, looking forward to a new phase in his career. But Reeve turned the tragedy into something positive. He formed the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation for victims of paralysis alongside his wife, who stayed by his side through what recovery there was.
And any one of us could get hurt at any moment.
These days, you either know Kanye West because of his music or the endless controversies. But as the Netflix documentary Genius, a Kanye trilogy, points out, he almost never got the opportunity to accomplish anything. That's because in 2002, he fell asleep at the wheel and crashed violently into an oncoming vehicle. The other driver broke both legs, and West's jaw was broken in 3 places, necessitating emergency surgery, metal plates, and having his jaw wired shut for weeks. He told MTV months later, "I had nasal fractures. I'd be talking to people and my nose would start bleeding. Even to this day, I could start choking because spit will go down the wrong path. The whole area is messed up." Weirdly, West has since claimed that the accident helped his career. In a 2014 sit-down with Interview magazine, he said, "The accident gave me the opportunity to do what I really wanted to do. I was a music producer and everyone was telling me that I had no business becoming a rapper, so it gave me the opportunity to tell everyone, hey, I need some time to recover. But during that recovery period, I just spent all my time honing my craft and making the college dropout."
I looked at this accident as God saying, "I'm about to hand you the world."
That album, released in 2004, would win the Grammy for Best Rap Album. Sometimes actors risk life and limb by waiving their right to a stunt double. Just ask Charlize Theron, who did her own stunts for 2005's Aeon Flux. While shooting a fight scene, she misstepped attempting to perform some acrobatics in platform shoes and landed hard on her neck. Filming was halted for weeks while she recovered from an injury that was almost much worse. She later told News.com, "I was a centimeter away from being completely paralyzed for the rest of my life. It was nobody's fault, but it was just a freak accident where I landed on my neck. Although she recovered, she dealt with chronic pain for years. Luckily, the worst of it appears to be behind her. In August 2021, Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker got on a plane with his now wife Kourtney Kardashian. It doesn't sound like a very big deal. After all, a world-famous and very in-demand musician has to tour, right? Thing is, getting on an aircraft was something of a triumph for Barker, who'd avoided planes for years following a terrifying and deadly plane crash in 2008. According to CBS, underinflated tires caused a Learjet 60 plane carrying Barker and several other passengers to crash on the runway while attempting to take off. The plane burst into flames, killing several passengers and wounding Barker.
Sort of caught fire. We were in there, and then we came down, in the air, came down, and then finally we hit an embankment.
The following year, people said Barker's good friend and fellow passenger Adam Goldstein, more commonly known as DJ AM, died in New York. Since Goldstein was the only other person to make it off that plane, that leaves Barker as the sole living survivor of the crash. Near-death experiences aren't something people get over very easily. In 2014, 30 rock star Tracy Morgan was involved in a fiery, lethal car accident involving multiple vehicles. The wreck killed his longtime friend and mentor, 62-year-old Uncle Jimmy Mack, and sent Morgan to the hospital in critical condition. According to news media, the accident occurred when a Walmart truck smashed into a limousine Morgan was in on the New Jersey Turnpike. For 5 months, Morgan was largely bedridden and confined to a wheelchair when he wasn't. He later told Rolling Stone, "I was in a very dark place. I was sitting right here contemplating suicide. I couldn't walk." On the Today Show, he said that he initially didn't remember the ordeal, but that hospital staff kept him informed as he recovered in those first days after the accident, saying, "It was surreal. They remember everything. I had traumatic brain damage, so I don't remember anything, and they would tell me everything that happened."
When I first came out of the coma, I was a mess.
When the memories flooded back, it was traumatic, he said, adding, "I got to the bed that I recovered in, and I just dropped to my knees and started crying because everything came before my face. Jimmy Mack, the truck, my friends that was in the car with me, all of that stuff came right before me." Harrison Ford doesn't just pretend to know his way around planes and spaceships in the movies. The star has been flying for years.
You know how to fly, don't you?
No. Do you?
And he's not just flying recreationally either. The article says he's flown real-life wilderness rescues that have saved lives. But in 2015, he was the one in need of help. The Associated Press says that the then 72-year-old A-lister was injured after crash landing on a California golf course. But it wasn't incompetence that caused the wreck. Quite the opposite, actually. Witnesses and aviation vets commended Ford for landing in open ground, even roughly, rather than trying to limp his dying aircraft back to the runway and risk crashing into a populated area. One witness said, "Another 25 to 30 yards and I don't want to think about it. He saved several lives."
You ever have a flying dream? I have.
AP said his condition was fair to moderate as he was taken to the hospital. But although he recovered fully, he may have been in worse shape than he initially let on. Ford recalled his injuries to Ellen: a dislocated right ankle, a shattered pelvis and a broken back, and a serious bump on the head, and a major laceration. Some people are just born lucky. When you see just how many times Justin Theroux has escaped death, you'll get what we mean. On an episode of Ellen, Justin Theroux talked about his many injuries while filming The Leftovers, saying, "I went to the emergency room every single season of the show." In another episode, he describes a scooter accident, saying, "I realize as I'm coming up on the next street that there's no lockup. There's still actual cars going back and forth." He slammed on the brakes and flew sideways off the bike, smashing his head on the ground. And that wasn't even the worst thing he went through. On yet another Ellen episode, he describes an earlier incident where he got creamed by a van while skateboarding and woke up with amnesia. He told Ellen, "I woke up with people all around me. I clearly blanked out for, I think, a long time. I had no clue who I was. I mean, I knew that I was me, but I couldn't remember my name and I couldn't remember my phone number." Luckily, it wore off and he recovered fully. Actress and model Brooke Shields was just trying to stay in shape when she tumbled off a balance board and instantly knew something was wrong. She told People, "It felt like it was all in slow motion, and then I just started screaming. Sound came out of me that I've never heard before." She had a broken femur, and she said she was genuinely afraid she was paralyzed and would never walk again. In the hospital, Shields got 2 metal rods in her leg, but then her injured bone popped out again, necessitating a second surgery involving 5 more rods and a metal plate to hold everything in place.
I realize what a fighter I am.
On February 21, 2021, Shields posted a video to Instagram of herself walking slowly in a hospital gown with the use of crutches. The caption read, "Broke my femur, beginning to mend. No matter what your challenge is, make a positive choice for yourself to move forward." Just after New Year 2023, Hawkeye star Jeremy Renner was severely injured in Nevada when his own snowplow ran him over. Renner, who had been trying to help a relative who was stuck in the snow, was flown to a nearby hospital and remained in critical but stable condition even after several surgeries. Luckily, the 52-year-old has since woken up and posted a few updates on social media to keep fans in the know about his prognosis and recovery. In a January 4th Instagram post, he wrote, "Thank you all for your kind words. I'm too messed up now to type, but I send love to you all.